What's going on, everyone? This is Jabari K. Smith, and you're experiencing the professional athlete. And today, this is going to be a good one. I got a special guest with me. He goes by the name of Jason Robinson, and he is the creator and co-founder of Playbook 5. Jason, what's going on with you?
Not much, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Definitely. I'm doing great. Listen, man, I can't stop staring at this product that I got in front of me, and we definitely gonna dive into it. But before we go there, let's talk a little bit about you, man. Who is Jason Robinson, man? Give me a little bit of your background.
Jason Robinson's an ex-athlete turned entrepreneur, coach's son. Come from a long family of education and academics. Went on to Boise State and was able to continue my college football career there. Since then, I've gone down the road of entrepreneurship that's included a clothing line. Also worked in the business development capacity in the sports tech market for another company named Crossover. And now I've got my own product, own company that I founded along with my partner Paulette Trend called Playbook 5. So a lot there. That's probably a deep question. Who is Jason Robinson? We probably need more tape for that.
Exactly. Well, I guess we can start off, like I said, your background. Are you a California native?
Yep. Born and raised in Los Angeles, California. Went to University High School, West LA. Former CIF LA City section player here. And, I'm back living in West LA now. It's really different after going to Boise State and coming back home. And also, in L.A. as an adult is a lot different than L.A. as a kid.
Absolutely.
Right. So
Absolutely.
it's been. I enjoy it. It's home for me. I enjoy traveling and seeing what every else the world has to offer. But there's no place quite like L.A. when you really come down to it.
Man, I totally agree. So I left Los Angeles much earlier. So I left at 13, 14. Mm-hmm. Went away to a boarding school in Arizona. Then from there went to JUCO in Arizona and then Texas Tech. So.
Yep.
I didn't get back to Los Angeles till I was 26 because I did a little bit of arena. But it was like a whole different world once I came back. Yeah, it was home, but like you said, once you're older, more mature, you're just dealing with different things. So I had a whole different perspective.
Everything, just when you're a kid in L.A., you only see in L.A. in certain hours because you're going to school and you come home from school and then everything. But, as an adult, the daytime and being 10 o'clock. I had never seen LA at 10 o'clock until I was on a Monday, right?
Exactly.
During a weekday. But then you get a chance to see LA without the traffic, without the congestion, at a regular tempo. You're like, man, it's a beautiful place. But you would always see it in the panic of it when you're a kid. But, now it's a lot more accessible, a lot more available. Just got to make sure you time up your drive with the 405.
Same here.
But other than that, you be all right.
Exactly. So football, man. Tell me about what made you choose football?
Man, football kind of chose me, to be honest. My dad was a high school football coach, played at Grambling State University. So I was born right into it. Started off at a young age on the sideline, and it was just natural, I think. I think it just chose me. I played everything. I played baseball as a kid. I played basketball, ran track. I played anything with a ball and a score, but something about football it kept me more. And as I became older, it just kind of filtered through, and it was my only one by the time I was 15. And, I still love to play other sports and love everything just because I'm a competitive guy. But something about the camaraderie associated with football.
Absolutely.
And the physical, side of it as well is just for kids and teenagers, we want a roughneck, and that's just natural. It's all right, it's legal. You can go out here and do this, and nobody's getting in trouble. So that was fun, and then strategically, I've always kind of been into that part of the game, just because I play quarterback, and then my dad's a coach, so I'd always view the game as a board game. And that really, really interested me a lot. Basketball was just you could do a lot with one chess piece, if you will, right?
Yeah.
In football, it's 22 moving parts out there. It's a lot more going on, a lot to learn, which means a lot to learn. So, and man, it's nothing like it. I don't know, man. Like I said, it kind of chose me, and I can't see. I don't know if I could have played any other sport. like the same way at the same level that I played football.
Man, listen, I totally agree, and I hate to sound biased, but it's just something special about the game of football. Like you said, the camaraderie, the mental aspect of it, the physicality of it, all of those things comprise. I honestly, like I said, it shifts and molds character because of it gives you every element that life has to offer in just this one game. So it definitely, football raised me. And you had mentioned earlier, I know you said football chose you, but at the age of 15, it was that when you kind of realized like, okay, this was going to be the avenue that I'm going to take?
Yeah, so what happened, I played at university. I played varsity as a freshman in basketball and football. And after my sophomore year, I had to undergo knee surgery, and that off season, and my dad was just like, man, playing basketball, but you 5'10", you're really good at football. Yeah, you're good at basketball, but you're really good at football.
Right.
And also, this probably gives you your best chance to move on and play. So at that point, and he was right, because I was now coming into my junior year in high school, and I needed to, whether it be clearing house, whether it be getting myself physically ready, whether it be me getting better and learning more about the game, because I was not ready, mentally to play college football at 15. So I started preparing myself then, and I just was like, you know what, man, I love this more. Like I played basketball a little too aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Get it?
I don't know if I would have been an asset for a team as much. So it just worked out. But my dad kind of made the executive decision, or gave me some executive advice rather. And just, I followed it, and he was exactly right, like he always is, and he's always has been in relation to my career and many of his other players. Just like a guy like that that's been around the game so long, he coached for 33 years, this thing is reoccurring, and the same thing kind of happens. It's not like this.
Exactly.
It's so much has changed. So, you got a kid, 15 years old, you see my speed, see my size, see my metal. He's my dad, so he knows more about me than I know even. And he gave me that advice, and I took it, and it worked out. And I don't know if I would have been able to get to the level that I got to athletically with basketball.
Right. I totally understand. So by you being a coach's son, what was your identity? How did you view yourself during that time? You're in love with football. I mean, you get direct coaching from your pops. You so happen to be gifted and talented as well. So how did you view yourself within your community?
It was weird, because growing up in LA, the haves kind of get it, considering I had a father. I had a lot of people treated me some type of way, about that. And with that as well, then my successes on the field were kind of, shaded, if you will. And it was chalked up to the fact that my dad was the coach. So,
what you mean, as far as in your accolades, you don't think that you got the full credit was for you? It was kind of like, was because he's the son of, more like? Okay.
Yeah, like, especially in a quarterback situation, and anybody that's played for their dad and played on a team with their dad know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, everyone's like, well, he's only the quarterback because his dad's the coach, or he's only this good because his dad's the coach. And it's like, and I knew that, and my dad knew that was going to be the case. He didn't coach me in Pop Warner, but I would always, it was weird because you even hear that in Pop Warner. Like, my dad wouldn't even coach in there. I'm like, oh, he's only good because his dad's a football coach. Like, okay.
So he's playing for me on the field?
So by the time I got to high school, I was kind of over that, but I accepted that role. Like, I accepted that character, and I was like, all right, well, we those guys, right? Like, everybody's mad at us because, I play for my dad, and my dad was, a pretty competitive guy himself. So I didn't take it as and because of that as well, I tried to separate that a lot mentally and compartmentalize. And like, when I was on the field with my dad, like, I called him dad, but that was my coach.
Right.
And if he could talk to me any kind of way, he could say anything, and I didn't take it personal because I knew what it was.
Exactly.
But a part of that was because I had seen him coach so many times, and I knew it wasn't personal.
Got you.
It was his form of leadership. So I enjoyed it. I embraced it. I will say though, it was tough.
I didn't even cut you off, but like, it's a gift and a curse as well, because now you have all this expectation as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are saying, well, you're this good because of your dad, but at the same time, it's like, I have to be this good because of my dad.
Right.
And if he's going, riding you hard one game, you can't go tell your dad,
right?
So it's like, how to, who's your outlet? If
right.
your coach is your dad and your dad is your coach. So.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I did struggle with, and I never had an outlet, because that was the thing. Like, you're absolutely right. It was like, well, which I didn't mind the pressure I had. Listen, my dad, he could have coached anywhere, and I was going to be who I was going to be. It got to a point where I didn't care I didn't even know I was into me as a player, So when I started, trying to, check things off my list, and I had goals like everybody does and start reaching milestones, it's like, dang, man, I have to do this, or else, I've wasted the opportunity to be the coach's son.
That's it.
I think that's what it more was. It's like the added responsibilities, like, all right, prove them wrong, or prove them right.
Right.
All right, they're saying you're great because you're a coach's son. It's like, all right, well, you know what? You're right. I am great. But and I think I did that throughout my career, man. My dad tried to raise me a lot like himself, as somebody who doesn't, stare at the trophy room a lot and count every award. But I'm proud of what I did as a player, and at the end of the day, my daddy wasn't on the field. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like I tell everybody out there, because they used to talk.
Right.
It's fun. And like I said, my dad is over there standing in a sweatsuit. I'm over here giving you this work. So
exactly. You worry about the person that's in front of you right now. Exactly.
I see you trying to find the reasons why you're getting this work, but it ain't got nothing to do with him. You better worry about this 15-year-old over here.
It makes sense.
But yeah, man, it's a great experience, man. With all that being said, there's nothing better to this day. Ain't nothing better than going to war, or going to combat. And then also I played with my brother. My brother was on the team 2 years as well. Like, nothing cooler than that.
Dude, yeah, you had a football blessing, man.
Yeah, I got lucky, man.
You did. So how did you view school coming up during that time?
Oh man, school was everything. It was religion in my family.
Okay.
It literally religion, to the point where I just became numb to it.
Okay.
It was like.
So you definitely didn't take it for granted.
No.
Got decent grades.
No, I didn't get a D until I was like a junior in high school.
Wow.
I think that was like a honors class, and I had to like study over 2 weeks and bring it up to a B, because my mom was gonna like kill me or something. Like, I graduated high school in 3.5 years. 3.5 years. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I finished after my senior football season and took the semester off before I went to Boise. Went to summer school every year.
Man, you got to share with us, man. I mean, how was you able to focus? Because like I said, I was polar opposite, man. Like every other week I was almost facing eligibility because of my grades. And it got to a point to where every day after class, I would go to my coach's house and do my homework, and his wife was my tutor, and I was still struggling. So like, I don't have any good advice besides, put your head down and do it. But you were doing it. So what was the strategy behind that?
I just think I always knew what I wanted. And what I wanted always came first. And I knew that I had to make sacrifices and trade-offs. There were certain things I was going to miss out on as a teenager. There's certain experiences that I wasn't going to have, But, that was all in congruence with my end game.
Right.
And so I took it in stride, and I made time for things. Like, I went to summer school every year,
Yeah.
And I just think I learned at a very young age to just do your best everywhere. Do your best everywhere. Try your hardest everywhere. Turn over every stone everywhere, and eventually that'll stack up. And in high school, my dad said this all the time. Like, you really just got to show up and be interested.
Yeah.
I was a great student, but I only did a little bit more than everyone else.
Okay.
That's the thing. It's not like it's. You get a syllabus. The teachers tell you what it is.
True.
Day one how this breakdown gonna go, how it's gonna work. So it really takes a lot of personal responsibility. And with that being said, like, let's not take for granted that I had a principal in my house and the dean in my house with my father and my mother. And my grandmother was my elementary school principal. So I grew up.
All right, yeah, you got no excuses.
Like, it's not. I'm not saying that this is like so easy and that there was nobody. Right? Like, there were people in my life that checked me. Like, it wasn't just come home and turn on the tube. It was like, come home, get your studies done, and then you can go on and do what you got to do. So most of that is because of them, and then the rest of that is up to me being receptive to it and actually putting it into practice. And I think that's why things have worked out the way they've worked out for me, because I did listen. And you know, you could hear those people all the time. You know, they come talk to us when we're playing for our teams, and they're like, "There's one person in here that's going to listen and take that advice."
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I try to always be that one person.
Makes
every
sense.
time. Like, and I always made a conscious effort to say, you know what, like, I'm gonna be that one person that puts this idea into practice, and maybe nothing comes from it, but at least I'm gonna try and see what does. And more oftentimes than not, it works out.
But see, what people need to understand, and you were able to understand this at a very young age, but that's what it takes for success.
Yeah.
Is to be that one person to be like, okay, like you said, you gave me the syllabus, you gave me the rule books, or whatever the map is, and I'm gonna do that and one little thing extra just to set me apart. You know, like that's what success is. If you go and read everyone's bio, it's that one thing that sets them apart, that makes them unique, and gives them that edge. And you were wise enough at that early age to get it. I mean, that's why you're here right now.
But I mean, like, again, and I'll say this, like, yeah, I put a lot of things into practice, but when I say I have a tremendously strong network, like, and as far as my family goes, man, like, blessed just doesn't even scratch the surface. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was no way I was gonna be nowhere other. Well, you know, like, it would have taken me so much energy to not be that. Like, it was like one of them cheaper to keeper situations. Like I'll just be a good student. Like,
Exactly.
It's just a whole lot easier to just roll
That
with
makes
this.
sense. Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's you know, I try to teach and teach, but educate people and share those stories with them as much as I can, especially young students, because so much of that stuff, man, that adults tell us when we're kids, you know, they always say, like, you know, one day you're going to say, like, I was right, and one day you're going to say, you look back at this, and I can't tell you how many times, whether it be my dad, whether it be my grandmother, my grandfather, my ex-football coach at Boise, you know, I'm calling somebody and like, man, you were right, you know?
Yeah.
I think the biggest part about life is just understanding that people have done it before.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely
and
right.
it's no direct challenge or towards you. It's just, look, they got started earlier on in life. They've been here longer.
Yeah, they're going to give you the answers to the test, so you might as well pay attention to it. Yeah.
Right. So it's not rocket science to me, but to some, I guess it is.
Nah, I totally understand where you're coming from. So walk us through your process. I mean, you went to Boise State, but I'm pretty sure you was highly recruited. So, you know, walk us through how everything went down.
So, yeah, I got my first offer when I was a sophomore in high school. And, you know, recruiting for me was different because my dad had been a coach, and I had met a lot of these coaches before, and they had seen me grow up. And also I had gone through the recruiting process with a lot of his players, and just, you know, because a lot of the guys that he grew up with or was coaching didn't have fathers. So they would do their home visits at our house. My dad would kind of help them make decisions, consult with their mothers, you know what I'm saying?
I didn't even cut you off. So you was experiencing this from a whole different perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it didn't get to like my third visit to where I was like, all right, let me start really getting in business mode.
Yeah.
Because the first time, you know, when your coach comes and he flies in on a private jet the day that he sets the visit, I mean, my dad was excited. I'm excited.
Right.
And so a lot of times, and not to make it sound bad, but you tend to not make the best decisions because you're on this emotional high right now.
Yeah, and I think what you said was exactly right. It was business.
Yeah.
Like, it was straight up that from get go.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was still my time, so I enjoyed it though. You know, I did not try to come at this as a smug kid that knew it all. Like, you know, the reality of the situation was I had seen my dad go through those experiences, but they were talking about Sir Parker and Darian Hagan. They weren't talking about Jason Robinson as a player. So this was a decision I was going to have to make for my life and my athletic ability to go on and get to the next step. So so much of that experience only played, but it definitely helped me to manage that emotional you know, high, and just like, okay, think about what's the best decision, not be wowed by, you know, so much of the stuff on the outside.
Absolutely.
And what and everything they say, and understand they're saying this to everybody. And yeah, I did. It was straight up a business recruiting process for me. And because I passed the SAT so early, I tried to get it out the way. So I committed to University of Washington, and then, you know, that was the time Tyrone Willingham was there. And it just, one thing led to another, and I was just like, man, you know, I don't want to go there no more.
Right.
And right before my junior year, I decommitted, and opened it back up. Or I'm sorry, right before my senior year.
Okay.
I opened it up, and I didn't really know what to expect, man. I just wanted to. My thing was I wanted to win.
Yeah.
My dad had coached for 33 years and not won a city championship. I had played at this point, 12, 15 years of competitive football and only had one championship, and that was when I was with Inglewood, and it was like a super team, so it wasn't like something that I really took credit for. And I wanted to win, and I wanted to be a part of a program where everyone had that, like, chip, because I had that chip. Like, I had a chip, because even though I was a coach's son and I was good, I always had that chip, because I always felt like no matter what I did, it was never going to be good enough.
Exactly.
No matter what I did, so I had that chip, and the best place for me to take that chip was Boise State.
Okay.
And
so why Boise State?
And Coach Pete, when I went on my recruiting trip, that was the first guy who won me over, and just everything about him. I had grown up going to training camp down in Grambling and seeing Eddie Robinson, address his team, and watching my dad address his team after. And, the weekend I got to Boise and my recruiting trip was, we flying on that Friday. And Thursday, Dan Hawkins was the coach. By the time my flight landed on Friday, Coach Peterson was the coach.
Wow.
So they had gone through that transition during my recruiting visit, which was not the most ideal circumstances for a recruit. But one of the things it did give me was an opportunity to see somebody just first day on the job.
Yeah.
And
see how he handles it.
And I did. And went going to practice and watching how he spoke to me and spoke to all the rest of the recruits, spoke to the team, spoke to my father. I was like, man, you know what? I don't know where this is going to lead, but I trust that dude to get me to the next level as a person. Because that's really what the game was about for me. Even from an early age, I was growing into my own as a person, so like I felt like winning was the next step. Yeah. I felt like winning was the next step, and being a champion and learning how to win and learning how to be a champion, and to do it the right way with the right people. So Coach Pete, seemed like, and obviously a lot of people agree today, but I made a good decision and had a great time.
Definitely. Because you played what years were you there?
2006, 2010.
Okay. That's when y'all was going to VCS bowls and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I was winning. So mission accomplished.
I picked the right time to go.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We won a lot, man.
Gotcha.
It was good to us.
Yeah.
But we worked hard. And
okay.
I will say that about us as a program. We worked very hard. Everybody on that team. And I was just talking to my buddy Tyler about this yesterday. We asked for it. We said at the beginning of the year we wanted to win a BCS game.
Okay.
Before that was, a normal thing for teams to consider. When it was still like, if you're a non-major, that's like a pipe dream. You know what I'm saying? We said during fall camp we're gonna do that. And we did, and then we asked for it. We asked for it.
So the culture was high expectations.
Always,
you got there,
because Boise State. What people don't know about Boise State is it's a smaller school in Idaho, but football tradition is so huge there because they've been a junior college, they've been an NAIA school, they've been in the Big Sky, and at all these levels they've won. They were national championships in junior college. They beat Grambling back in the day. You know what I'm saying? This is a football program. It wasn't until, the late 90s, early 2000s that they became a Division I program, and they started to, plant that dominance there. So by the time I got there, 2006,
it was a household name.
They were like 10 years into like winning some games, got some buzz, and, Boise State. And like I said, like that's the culture there, I will say, because they were so ready and they're so used to winning. They're like, all right, we win now because that's what we do. Now, when do we play for the big one? When's our time? And that's why I think that's why we said it and we demand, because it was like, man, this seems right. Like everyone's, it's just a different experience, man. Like Boise it's like football heaven.
Yeah, I understand.
It's straight up like football heaven.
I get it. I tell kids that want to play football, I say, make sure you go to a football school. Yeah, and it's a difference. You can go to a big school, but make sure you go to a football school. What I mean by that is the culture revolves around football. And
Right.
I got to experience that, being in Lubbock. Like I
Right.
said, everything shuts down when there's
Right.
a Texas Tech football game.
Right.
So you know that, like I said, it gives you a sense of purpose. It's
Yep.
like, I'm not only playing for myself, I'm playing for this community. And us football players, we love being a part of something that's bigger than us.
Mhm.
So
Especially coming from like so yeah, it's perfect point. So my dad's from Louisiana,
Okay.
and my cousins played in Louisiana, and I grew up watching that culture, right? One town, one team, rob a bank during the game type
Right,
thing.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and then I grew up in LA though, where 8 schools per block,
Yep.
and everything to do on a Friday night except go to a football game, right?
Yep.
So to be lost here in a place where you busting your ass and no one really cares,
yeah.
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 Then to go to a place, it's like, no, everybody cares.
Yes.
It's like, man, like nothing's better than that.
Yeah.
Like that was really awesome. And of course, there's pros and cons to every situation.
Oh, yeah.
But I had longed for that at that point because I really loved the game. I grew up like in it, and not just in it from LA. Like I was going home with my dad, going to Gramblin's practice, going to my cousin's practice. So I saw the Southern culture, and I wanted it so bad, and I wanted it, and I wanted to win, and I wanted all of it. So Boise just packaged all that into one for me, and we were able to do some really special team things with some really special teams up
That
there.
makes sense. So share with us, Los Angeles, big city,
Mm-hmm.
Boise, Idaho. How did you adapt to the culture? Los Angeles is very culturally diverse, but it can also be isolated at times, depending on where you grew up in Los Angeles. But we know what Boise is.
Right.
How did you adapt to that?
At first, it wasn't that bad, and it was never really, really bad. It was, but at first, I didn't notice it at all because I was with my guys.
Okay.
So going to college, it's just you spend so much time with your incoming freshmen, with your class, and then when you're a student athlete, you spend so much time with your teammates. So luckily for me at this time, Boise had figured out there were a lot of athletes in Southern California, and they had recruited a lot of them. So we had kind of our own little support hub amongst friends there. So it never really, and every time we were together, we were always together in the community.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really, we didn't experience too much. And then also because of what we were doing at the time on the field, like nothing was but love. We didn't get nothing but love. But it was different. I think a lot like how I mentioned L.A. as an adult versus L.A. as a kid. I'd say now when I go back to Boise, I see different Boise as an adult or a non-student athlete than as a student athlete, but it's the same thing. I'm going to different places. I'm going to different parts of the community at different times with different people. And then you see it, and it's different. It's a bubble.
Yeah.
It's got its own world, but I think people are proud of it. That's the way they want it there. And it works. It works for them. I will say that. Like one of the reasons why we were able to be so successful was because we could focus. And it's peaceful. There's no distractions. There's nice people. It's good energy up there. Every place has their cultural differences based on the demographic that makes up the city. But it wasn't anything too bad. And also, I will say, my perspective is definitely different as a Boise State student athlete.
Definitely, totally understand. So playing at Boise State. Did you stay as a quarterback or did you change
safety? I switched to safety.
Went to safety?
Yeah.
Okay, so man, we got a lot in common. I played corner, you played safety. So how did you adjust to, now you're on a much larger platform, lights are brighter. How did you manage those type of pressures and its new distractions? Because even though Boise is isolated, it's still college, and college is a lot of fun. So how were you able to manage all of that?
Oh, I didn't. No,
Okay.
I'm joking.
I've got that before though. It was something was like, man, I crashed and burned. I had to transfer.
No. I think the same thing that got me over in high school was just time management, compartmentalizing my life, knowing that there's a time for play and there's a time for serious stuff like your opponent and your finals and your midterms and things of that nature. As far as the big stage, that kind of struggle I struggled with early on, coming from a place where I played day games here, like 100 people there. And now it's like 100,000 or 30, 40,000 every week and 25,000 at your spring game and shit like that. But eventually that wore off. The newness wore off because you just get the game becomes so engaging on the field and it wears off. But I think that the overall leap from high school to college as a student athlete was just easier, you know. And you know, like I said, we had a lot of people helping us to make that, you know, to keep the distractions away from us and make sure we were going to study hall. Yeah, you know, good support, really. You know, like because it was all hard. It was hard. It was tough. Even with the support, it was hard. You know, because you want to be in college, you want to have fun, and we did. We did it. A little bit of everything, but I think the one thing that I really appreciated about my teammates, all of them, and I still appreciate them for this, is we knew when it was time to get serious.
Got you.
Always knew when it was time to get serious. You know, we had all the fun that every other college team had. We had the same, you know, jokes, the same good time. But when we knew when it was the line to be drawn, whether it was doing too much and having too much fun, or it conflicting with our goals.
With our goals,
you know. So that's leadership. So I took kudos to Coach Pete for that.
Was your personal goals NFL?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I always, you know how it is. Anybody that you once you put it on, you want to take it to the highest level.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it was, though, and I think that's what was different was I wanted to go to the NFL, but I didn't want to go to the NFL. I just wanted to get to the highest level. I wanted to maximize my potential.
I get you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't about the shield per se. But yeah, man. And when things didn't work out, I had to look at my career and say, I mean, did I maximize my potential?
Yeah. So take us through that transition, man. Like, you're done. You're senior. You did graduate, right?
Yep.
I figured that you graduated high school.
Yeah.
So yeah, how did that go with the the NFL and that whole transition?
Well, I came out the year of the lockout, and I was special teams captain and really a utility guy in the backfield my junior and senior year.
Okay.
So I might have played 25, 30 snaps a game, packaged in, and I just think, because of timing, because of a lack of film for one reason, it just didn't happen. You know, and also guys were better. There were better guys. The writing was on the wall for me when the guy who started ahead of me didn't get drafted.
Got you.
So when Jerron went undrafted, which we thought he was going to get drafted, I was like, oh well. I was draft free agent, now free agent. So
right.
But no one likes to be dumped, right?
It's true.
No one likes to be told that it's over, it's done.
Yeah.
I struggle with it, and it's certainly somebody that like me, that is passionate about the game as I am and loved it, and I really enjoyed putting on that stuff every day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I enjoyed that, and that part hurt, but I think I snapped out of it relatively quicker than most. Okay. Because I knew I did everything.
Okay. You knew you laid it all out.
Man, like that's the thing.
No regrets. Yeah.
It got to the point by the time I was like 24, I was like, man, I wouldn't have been able to, I had no more. I can't even play basketball now because of my knee. Like I can't. I did it. You know, it's just like, again, it's like you're stopping here and so many people are continuing on, right? Yeah. And it's like, well, dang, well, why they keep to go? Well, like, all right, that's cool. That's their journey. Yeah. That's their life. Yeah. And God got something for them. You know? God has something for me with not. And then also you look back at your career and it's like, man, like, okay, they got that, but do they got playing for their dad? Do they got all conference as a freshman? Yeah.
You still had a full story.
So it's like, and that takes time to do, energy. So like at some point, man, it's an output game. So I think I maximized my potential as a football player for sure. As like physically, I had no more, bro. I had no more. I tried everything, but I had more football, and I think that's coming to what I'm doing now. Exactly. But as a player,
right. It was just that chapter was over.
Done.
Did you already have a backup plan at that point in time?
No, I mean, my backup plan was like any other 22-year-old's backup plan. Like, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm gonna go do this, go do that. Like, it's like a soft plan B.
Got you.
So I had an idea that I was going to go into entrepreneurship and begin, start my own business of some sorts. I'd always, even as a kid, I had sold shoes on eBay when I was a freshman. I used to sell Jordans and find a little burnout beepers and sell them. And I was always hustling, trying to do whatever I could. And I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed being in the market, if you will. Yeah. And I knew that there was something that I wanted to do when I was done. I didn't know what the product and service would be. I didn't know who the customer would be, but I knew that if I got started learning the basic principles of running a business, that I would stumble upon the right idea in due time.
Exactly.
So, and that's kind of going to happen.
And how long did it take you to kind of know, like, okay, I'm headed in this direction, time wise?
As far as like,
all right, I'm not playing football no more. I need to figure it out. Oh, I think I figured it out. Like, how long did that take?
So the lockout was 2011, and then I worked out for Canada. It took me about 6 months. I didn't make it. I don't waste time.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
before you get into this, because this is important, because this is what people need to understand. Okay, no, you didn't already have the backup plan while you were playing, but 6 months is a quick turnaround, because there's some people that didn't play sports and graduate, and they spending 2-3 years trying to figure out what they want to do. So really, really articulate, how did you navigate into your next move?
Well, I started and I was like, well, what? I took a basic philosophy from football. It's like, if I had 20 touchdowns this year and I want to do 30 touchdowns next year, I have to do something different that I did for 20 to do for 30.
Absolutely.
So I looked at it like, all right, if I want to be a businessman, if I want to be an entrepreneur, I need to do those things and do the things literally do it. Just do the things.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was like, I just did it. And I started and I had a clothing line and, I saved up a little money. I was at Equinox and I bought some shirts downtown and got them screen printer off Craigslist and set up a little big cartel website, and I had a business. Yeah. And I was shipping shirts out of my parents' house, and, I had my buddies in the league wearing them. Had the social media stuff going, and it was cool, and it was a business. Yeah. And I just did it.
Dude,
I just did it.
It's crazy. We had the same blueprint. That was my first business.
Just did it. And, I think what it is it's the easiest thing guys like you and I can do.
I mean, we relate to it. We're into fashion. Athletes love being fresh. It's like, okay, this is the first thing I can put my mind to, print out shirts and sell it in the market. It kind of parallels to kind of the environment we grew up with, package things up and getting it out. So, yeah.
And then if you look at who our role models were, our generation at least, that's what Diddy did. Yep. That's what Damon John did. That was like the new thing at the time. Now, it's much like what we're going through right now. Is like those aren't the only opportunities, but at the time, those were the only opportunities being shown to us. Yeah. And because there were so many people that tried and sometimes failed, there were so many existing models for us to go get something started up. You got to think, you guys like you and me, man, we didn't go to business school.
Absolutely.
We were playing Division I football. Like,
that's what we were there for.
That's what we were there for. Yeah. And with that comes a lot of time commitment, and we weren't able to, many of us weren't able to take the classes they want to take or do the internships they want to do and things of that nature. So we didn't get that work experience, hands-on experience that a lot of our peers may have had by the time they graduated college. Yeah. So for us to go out and just do something simple that we know, Jay-Z talked about, Puff Daddy talked about, well, let me go try it. Then you get that confidence. And it's like, all right, man, I'm in the market. I can start a business. And then you, as you're an athlete, same way it was now. Okay, now once you got, you mastered the 3-step drop, then you're like, all right, well, let me see if I can do the 3-step drop with the rollout and the spin. And let me see if I could 3-step side step. It's like, okay, now I can run a business. Let me go see if I can make more money. Let me see if I can find any more opportunities and get better and start sharpening your skill set. Yeah. And then that's how I ended up where I'm at today, doing what I'm doing. It's all started with just doing.
Exactly.
And I knew I didn't, I bought into the idea of being Mark Echo. Yeah. And because I go full speed in it. So when I'm on, that's
how we do. We lock in. Yeah.
But I always kept myself open. I knew I was young. My thing was, I'm 22. I said, for 10 years, I'm going to throw everything at the wall. I'm going to see what sticks. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to do everything for 10 years. And if it's a clothing line, if it's sports technology, if it's, I worked as an intern at a showroom, worked in, whatever, like just personal trainer or did that, whatever it is, I'm going to see what sticks. Because one thing I think, and I'm sure you share this, as a former athlete, I know that when we find the spot, we can get it done, So it wasn't a panic because I was like, I just got to find my spot. I just got to find it.
Once I find it, it's a wrap.
Got to find the spot.
Well, speaking of that, man, and talking about transitions, like I said, we're getting into the good part, and this is what I'm so excited about. Man, Playbook 5, man. Where did that come from?
Right. So while I was on my journey as an entrepreneur, 2014, I got invited to the Forbes 30 Under Summit in Philadelphia with my clothing line. And while I was there, had the opportunity to hear Palmer Luckey speak, who is the individual that sold Oculus to Facebook. And Oculus is the virtual reality manufacturing company that was acquired by Facebook for $2 billion back in 2014. So he was there. He was a keynote and whatnot. And I was taking notes, and he was talking about the forecast of virtual reality and the utility of the product and the things that it could do. And I just had a light bulb moment right there.
Yeah.
And he talked about sports and education. And I was like, man, who better but me? And also I was in love with what the things he was saying that virtual reality could do. Like one of the big things that he kept saying was like experience. And one of the examples he used was, being able to film something in America and taking it over to India and having someone that's never been to America and will never go there, but be able to experience that. And I began to talk about a lot about football and thought about sports and just my own life as a player and as a coach. How many times do we tell people, I want you to think like the middle linebacker, or I want you to, where's your help? And where's your, how do you see things, right? Because you're always trying to gain that perspective. But now virtual reality offered a way to give guys that perspective.
Absolutely.
So, and that was in 2014, and I wrote it down and circled it. And as of that day, ATL, which was my clothing line, was non-existent.
You didn't waste no time.
Man, I didn't even get that collection done. I got some cold patterns of this, if anybody want them. I
still got some old designs in the crate too.
I got some cool ones that never came out, but I dropped that right then, and then went on and started concepting this idea. And
exactly. So explain to everyone, what exactly is Playbook 5?
Right. So Playbook 5 is a coaching platform that allows coaches to manage their playbook, distribute their playbook to their players' smartphones. And when they do that, the players can also partake in a virtual simulation of the play using virtual reality right from their smartphone. So we provide schools with the VR viewers and the ability to host their account and host their playbook on our server. And players have the ability to get that experience. And the real thing is we're trying to do is get to a point where we can help eliminate and help coaches maximize their time with players in high school.
Absolutely.
Players at every level, there's not enough time. There's never enough time for nothing. There's never enough time in life. But if we can start to get these minutes and add up and save 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes here by moving some of these instructional components to a remote digital setting, which can reserve that time that the coaches have with the players to work on things that really matter.
Because the player doesn't have to do this in the film room. They can literally be doing this at home.
They could do it at home. They could do it at the bar. They could do it anywhere, man. Anywhere they got the headset and have cell service, they can, pull out their playbook and start studying and getting reps.
So there's no more excuses on why you can't know your playbook.
It ain't no excuse. If you don't know your playbook, you don't want to be on the team.
You don't want to be on the team. Exactly. So how do you see the players and coaches actually using this platform?
Well, I really think that right now one of our clients, Westlake, they're using it as a supplement to their install in their spring practice.
Okay.
What I see is, I can really see this being the substitute for install, where now coaches can come straight to the field and not have to worry about doing an install period in high school and wasting 20 to 30 minutes getting guys aligned and assigned. But now you're coming to the field, and maybe you spend 5 minutes now just looking over the results of their homework and look who's seen what and who looked over what plays and how many reps, because now they can do it all day. So they can do it anytime. They can get 10 minutes in the library, do it during P. They have it now with them. So if we can get to that point, help coaches get that 30 minutes back, and now help them fill that time with things that are better for the athlete, tackling drills, conditioning drills, more strategic side, the situational side of the game. But first, we're starting with taking away just, 30 minutes of practice, only talking to 11 guys at a time with the other 30 standing around is inefficient.
I agree.
At every level, it's inefficient.
I agree.
It's just inefficient, especially in high school when you're sharing that time with lacrosse, soccer, girlfriend, math, mom, Street Fighter, Pokemon Go. You're sharing this time already. You don't have time, to be having guys out there standing around. So take it away. Don't even have that period. Let guys come to the field. They know what their job is, and you know that they know what their job is.
So how do you think it'll have that impact on football? Is it taking away that 30 or redistributing that 30 minutes into something that's more effective?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. So,
Well, I mean, this isn't the first of its kind, right? So how do you see yourself with the competition that's kind of out right now?
Right. So the one thing we've done is there's a lot of people in the space in virtual reality doing sports in general. And there's a couple ways you can do it. 360 film, through 3D, you can do, different type of applications, right? Well, one thing we tried to focus on was building a whole product solution that wasn't just using virtual reality, but we leveraged several technologies. So coaches have an actual coaching platform where they can distribute the plays, see who's seeing what, manage the team, and also push these plays out and serve as the playbook hub, right? So because we've, taken so many of the, heavier elements like 360 video away from it, we've got a much more affordable product for high school coaches and for coaches in general. And it's much more of a whole product solution where you can put this into your system. You don't have to look at this and be like, okay, how do I use this? Well, we let you know the practice plan. We let you know how, when you should be sending your players out during the week, sending them their install so they can make sure they know them for practice. So it's really the whole product solution that we really offer more than anybody else.
Gotcha. And so do you walk the program through it? So let's say Pasadena High and I purchased this product. I'm like, okay, this is great technology, but where do I start with my players? Okay.
Yeah. So that's where the learning curve comes into play. It's a new technology. So people need to be taught how to use it and how to maximize it. And because we've built a whole product solution, you can see it very easy. This is when it comes in because we show you, okay, this is when you send your plays out, right? This is when the players gets it. Now the next thing is a rep. Okay, where does that rep come in? Boom. This is where virtual reality comes in. Gotcha. Virtual reality is not, the focal point. It's a component of the system.
Break that down to me again. So, like overall, and like I said, from football player to one, we realize that maybe just sports in general, is 90% mental, 10% physical. So how did this really enhance that 90% mental aspect of it? Like I said, I tried the product, and like I said, without giving it away, I want you to explain it. But like I see what you're talking about, but if you can kind of explain to the listeners like that component of it.
So mental training is done to build your mental muscles to where you don't have to think as hard. So you're working under less stress in the moment. Yeah. Now, because you can go into virtual reality and run 9-6-9 100 times versus the 4-3 defense, the thought is now when you go out on the field, you know this so well. You've done it so many times. You've repped that brain muscle so many times on this post route against the safety, splitting the safety right behind the middle linebacker, that now you don't have to think about it. Now you have to think about running as fast as you can and catching the ball. Yeah. Doing the actual job. Not thinking about the assignment, but thinking about executing the job. Gotcha. You remember it, man. You're a young player out there and you barely know what's going on. You lining up. And you can't even think about catching the ball. You're just trying to figure out where to run. Okay, coach, the quarterback called 9-6-9 wide drag. I got that. Yeah.
You're trying to go through your checks, everything. At that point, you can't even be the good athlete.
At that point, you're done.
Yeah.
At that point, you're done. Yeah. So, and also, at that point, you're not safe.
You're not safe. You're right.
You're not safe. Yeah. You can't be thinking and playing this game safely. Yeah. Those are the people that get hurt, the people that are timid, that don't know what they're doing, that just are filling themselves out because it's full speed out there. So what you want is, you want to know what you're doing so well like it's second nature, like it's built into your program in your brain, and now you can move fast, play fast.
So this enhances the neuroplasticity of your brain
Yes.
when it comes to sports, because there's so many repetitions without actually using your body. By the time you get on the field, it's like, oh, it's second nature.
Yes.
Get it.
Yes.
So what's the ultimate goal for this product then?
The ultimate goal for this product is to change the way players learn globally. And, you know, we talked about, you know, redistributing the time, practice time more efficiently. If we can begin to do that at the 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old, who knows what that does for athletes, man. Like, I mean,
you're right. I mean, do you see this being used one day by soccer players?
Yes, 100%. We've got plans for other sports that will be starting in 2018. We've got a couple other sports that we'll be you know, getting into, and also in 2018 as well. We're going to start trying to. We're actually going to attempt to put on our first bowl game with high school teams. Work with 2 teams from 2 independent states and get them together for a Playbook 5 bowl and try to help, you know, build up the high school market a little bit and bring together some fun stories and fun games. But as far as the product goes, like, they concussion talk, like, you know about, and we all hear about. It's all about, you know, subconcussive hits, right? So not just the trauma that happens in high school and at the pro level, but what happens when they're 6, 7 years old, you know, 8 years old. All those miniature, you know, impacts that we think don't do anything that add up. So who knows, man? One day, if players can get to the same product on Saturdays with less
damage,
that's a better athlete. It's a better human. That's a better game, a safer game. More people will be involved. More people will want to be involved. More people will be healthy. It opens up more opportunity to work with fresh bodies. I mean, it's just overall better for the game. But it starts with education. You cannot go out there and do that if you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
Playbook 5 helps you learn what you're doing. I want this thing to be able to be picked up right now. If you become a customer of Playbook 5, I want you to be able to, like, basically have never have coached high quality football before and be able to pick up a system where you can now teach them the strategic elements at the least. You don't have to worry about that. Technique and stuff, we don't do that. You know, you got to coach and teach the players what 3-point stance is, what a back pedal is, and that stuff. But when it comes to the strategic side and actually understanding the game, Playbook 5 handles that for you. You build athletes. Let athletes build athletes, you know.
You know what's crazy? I didn't mean to cut you off. This is when a kid can get that same opportunity you had as far as having a father as a coach.
Yep.
Because let's say we have the kid, like I said, we're from Los Angeles, and it's a lot of kids that don't have. I was fortunate enough to have a father as well. But what about the kid that only has, you know, the hour the coach for that 2 hours in practice?
Right.
But they're thriving to be the best that they can be.
Right.
Man, they can take this home and they're getting that coaching. It's the same thing.
Right.
And so it enhances the learning curve and it makes it an even level playing field now. No, like I said in the beginning of this conversation, there's no more excuses.
There's no more excuse. Yeah. And, you know, I had to bring that point to a full circle. You know, I got tired of watching so many kids from the inner city go to the next level and couldn't pick up the playbook. And had to come home. And I saw it all growing up. My dad coaching players.
I'm talking about freaking nature athletes.
Guys that mean best athletes we know. I still haven't seen guys that are good as some of these guys. But they can't pick up the playbook. They can't digest the playbook. And in 6 weeks, they're now back home. You know, let's handle that by first. And it's bigger than just football. Teach people how to learn.
Absolutely.
Teach them how to learn.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm a football player and I'm an athlete, but I'm a human first. And the kids that use this in their high schools, even if they go to the NFL, they're going to spend a lot more time being a human than they will be as a football player. My goal is teach them the building blocks to being successful at anything. And that's not success in terms of dollars and cents. It's happiness. How do you become successful in a marriage? You work at it.
Absolutely.
You find out the things and you do homework and you work at it. You know, you set goals. You test yourself. How do you be successful in your business? Same thing. But that starts with just teaching the principle of learning. And this is the perfect platform considering it engages with the sports they're playing. It's great technology. It's on the smartphones. It's something that all these kids already have.
They already have it.
You know, so it's right there, man. I'm excited for, as you can see, I kind of like took a whole new deal on it. I'm just excited to see where this thing goes because, like you said, it does give everybody an opportunity like me because that's what you're right, bro. And that's why I built this thing. because and that's why, and that's what I share people. Like, people always wonder, how did you like do that? How did you think, like, this is how, man?
Yeah.
I knew every position. I knew it wasn't no better than you. Like, I just knew every position.
Yeah.
I thought about things as if I'm the mic. Because I played safety and quarterback, I could see both perspectives.
Exactly.
And because I sat with a man who would draw up every single assignment as he built a play, I would know, okay, this is the intent of it. This is why. So when it came to being on the field with it, it was just it was easy. It was slow down. And that's what we want to do, man. Like this, and it's happening. Westlake loves it.
Okay.
And we're gonna bring a number of schools on this summer that will be using it this season. But I feel really, really good about what this product can do for sports, man. Because it should be fun, and it does not mean you have to be injured.
you absolutely
it does
right.
not mean you have to be injured.
Absolutely right, man. I mean, you're giving the kids everything that you had, and that's, at the end of the day, I mean, that is what we do this for. I mean, that's what I have this show for. Like I said, I want to help the youth and even my peers navigate. I remember, like I said, I did it by myself. I was a first generation athlete. And even though I had the support, I may not had the right strategic guidance. And so I had to learn them. Some were good decisions, some were poor decisions. But now I have the information. So it's like, okay, I'm going to give you everything that I got to give you a head start. That's what this is.
Man, it's crazy because, like, I ain't even really thought about it like that. But it is, though.
Yeah.
And, bro, honestly, as a player, it did so much for me to know everything.
Yeah.
To know where everybody was thinking.
I mean, that's evolution. I mean, if you pass down information to the next generation that'll give them a better chance to be successful, that's evolution. You just created evolution. Yeah. Just sit and just let that marinate for a second. I mean,
shit. Yeah, I mean.
Well, look, I'm gonna say what it is. I'm gonna ask you a question since we're talking about, like I said, the big picture. What do you think was the most valuable transferable skill that you learned from football that you apply to life now?
All right, so I got two answers to that, not only because my life is comprised of two elements. That's Playbook 5 and in my life.
Got you.
So Playbook 5 wise, like teamwork, like being able to, work with a team and know that you have to, being a quarterback in high school, you knew, like, all right, first of all, I'm City Player of the Year, so I'm getting mine, but I got to make sure I got two running backs that got to be happy. I got these old linemen that got to be happy. I got these two prima donnas receivers out here that trying to go to college. Yeah. So sharing and making sure that, everyone is participating and everyone feels welcome and everyone feels, a part of the success that's going on and a part of the team. That is something that shows up a lot in my personal life and also but more so in Playbook 5 as I work with my team and we start to add new people and divide up responsibilities and going through a product development cycle. There's at some points development is in the highest priority, then and at that point marketing is the lowest, and then it gets to a point where that flips, and then there's somewhere in the middle. So managing that at all times and making sure people are engaged and feel involved. That is something that I got straight from football, and that's just straight from playing quarterback. That's exactly how, especially being a quarterback when I was dad's a coach, right? So I really had to make sure all these dudes was happy because they really just go hate on me if they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so like that shows up, and then other than that, doing something better, like getting something at better every day.
Okay.
Like when I was an athlete, I would try to do something every day.
Okay.
Whether it been push-ups, calf raises, a 10-minute, just like visualization of a series or something. I always try to give it something every day. Give it a little bit of attention every day. Never, like literally every day. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that you don't take a day off because some days it might just be a minute thought or one note. Yeah, right? Yeah. But I do it every day. I try to make time to get better every day, whether it's 5 seconds or 2 hours. Right. And I got that from sports, and I'm doing that, daily in my life, and I feel like it's doing all right, not perfect and still, figuring a lot of things out as I mature and become a man. Still only 28 years old, and life is still, new And the world's changing faster than it's ever changed before.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot much more to keep up with.
Yeah.
But I feel like that one, nugget is something that keeps me ahead of the curve, because I don't know what it means to stay the same. I'll never be the same. Like tomorrow, I'm gonna be different.
Right.
I'm gonna be 2% better. Like today's me is the only time I'm gonna be this.
This is true.
And I'm gonna bring more to it, bring more to it, bring more to it. So, trying to build each day and giving things that and being committed to it. So that's discipline.
That's
and commitment.
discipline in itself. So you're always mastering your craft, always evolving, always getting better, and always putting people in the best position to maximize their greatness. As a great quarterback would do.
Trying to, man. Yeah, I try. That's what and that's what I enjoy most about where I'm at right now, where Playbook 5 sits. It's the perfect culmination of my life experiences between the leadership side of it and also what the product is and what it offers. But just the leadership side for sure, man. Like I play quarterback, so I'm comfortable doing this, and leading and getting people in the right spot.
Perfect. Well, man, listen, it was a pleasure having you
Appreciate
on the
it,
show,
man.
Anytime.
Yeah,
because I already know where this is going to go, man. So I'm excited about this. However I can support you, man. Man, it was just a pleasure having you. Before I let you go, man, let everybody know who's listening to this where they can find you, man. What's your social media outlets and everything like that?
So I've got a couple. I'm on Twitter. Personal is going to be Jason Robinson, and Playbook 5 will be at Playbook 5 on Twitter, at Playbook 5 on Instagram. You can also find the website playbook5.com. Hit me up, hit us up. If you know a coach that may be interested, players that are interested, please drop us a line. This is something that we really want to get into the hands of the people, as many as we can, and try to get these players safer and have them practicing and learning the game more efficiently.
Definitely. Well, there you have it. Jason Robinson, Playbook 5, and you already know I'm Jabari K. Smith, and thank you for experiencing the professional athlete. Till then, be productive, be positive. I'm out.